You know, guys, ever since Sasha Banks has vented her frustrations about how she feels in WWE right now, despite the fact that she has tweeted out, Facebook, Instagrammed, difference in opinion when it comes to others' opinions, it's almost like some people just can't help themselves. You see, every time a superstar comes on social media and vents their frustrations with the WWE or with Ring of Honor or Impact Wrestling or New Japan or PWG or whatever, or MLW, it seems that the first thing everybody points out is AEW. That's the first thing that comes to the mind. In fact, anytime a superstar, or male or female, from any of the promotions I just mentioned, post out there in a cryptic message or in a cryptic way, or kind of lets it be known that they are asking for the release, or they want to get out of the company they're in, or out of the contract they're in, one of the ways people respond to that is they use multiple GIFs, or just one GIF, of a camera zooming down a hallway up to Cody Rhodes with his hand to his ear like this. And why? I'll tell you why. Because these people are so hard pressed to get the matches they want that they're willing to start a fire where there doesn't need to be a fire. Just because you smell fumes or smoke doesn't mean sometimes there's a fire. Today, Luke Harper announced that he had requested WWE for his release. And he was very cordial about it. Very cordial. Very respectful. Even leaving the door open for him to come back in the future. But guess what? It doesn't guarantee he may get it. Now some are saying that since he doesn't really have nothing to do right now, that he, along with someone like Sean Spears, aka Ty Dillinger, and Kenta, aka Hideo Itami, along with them, he could be one of those exceptions. Is he though? We don't really know. See, Vince McMahon may hear about this and be like, no, I don't want to let this guy go, because he's a big man. He's a big man and he likes big men. So he's not going to want to let a guy like him go. Especially in the past, when it's been reported that Vince McMahon's actually high on someone like him. If not on him, period. The point is, just because someone vents their frustration, asks for the release, makes it publicly known or cryptically known that they want out, they've had enough and they want out, it doesn't mean that person is automatically AEW bound. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. I know a lot of us, especially the hardcore fans, want to have their dream matchups. They want to have the Revival against the Young Bucks. They want Sasha Banks against Britt Baker or Allie Impact, Cherry Bomb. They want that. They want those matchups. They want Sasha Banks against Kylie Ray. They want these matchups. But here's the problem. Just because you want them doesn't mean just because someone's venting their frustration and their anger and cryptically saying sometimes or acknowledging sometimes they want out, it doesn't mean they're automatically AEW bound. We have seen in the past WWE work something out with their talent. Everybody thought the Usos, when the original contracts were up this month, everybody thought, oh, they're not going to resign. They're going to be AEW bound. Oh, the matches against the Young Bucks. Oh, just imagine the matches. And what happened? Usos resigned for 3 years. Everybody thought AJ Styles' contract was up this April. Ooh, AJ Styles to AEW. AJ Styles against against Kenny Omega. Ooh, the matches. What happened? AJ Styles resigned. The point being, just because someone voices their frustration and cryptically in their own unique way, vents and says, oh, I want out, but then you notice later on sometimes they delete what they did or they said in either manner, it's because all that person is doing sometimes is the venting of frustration. Someone, let's take a look at it from a very realistic standpoint, because what they do is a job. What people like Sasha Banks, Bayley, the Revival, what they do is a job. So let's take a look at it from that perspective. Just like with any real job, you come home, you're tired, and you just want to rest. You want to basically rest your mind, clear your mind, shut your brain off for the day. Especially, but here's the thing. What I'm trying to say is, here's the thing. Sometimes when you get home from work, you're mad, you're frustrated. All because something didn't go your way, or something went awry, or something happened that just really ticked you off. And when you get home, you have to let that anger out. Believe me when I say this. Believe me when I say this. I've had that happen to me. I'll come home, my mom will pick me up from work, or I'll be off work and my mom will come home from work, and sometimes she will end up venting and taking her anger out on me. And here's the thing, she doesn't mean to. She doesn't mean to, but she's taking her frustration and her anger verbally out on me. And I'm thinking, what did I do? What did I do? I mean, sometimes I could do one little small thing, like I could leave my Coke can right here and it's empty, and she knows I don't mean to do that, and that could set her off, and everything that's happened throughout the day that's frustrated her can come right out, and she just lashes. That's all sometimes some of these men and women in WWE are doing. They don't mean to say some of the things they do, even in cryptic form. They're just venting. They're just letting that frustration out. And when they see maybe they shouldn't have done that, they delete what they say. They delete it off Twitter. They delete it off Instagram. Because all they're doing is letting the frustrations out. Once they do that, once they type up all that frustration or whatever, they probably breathe a sigh of relief and go, I need to get that out of my system. And then later on they'll be like, oops, I need to delete that. It's all about letting out frustration. It's kind of like what wrestling fans do sometimes. Hey, the Lex, man, when he was doing a live reaction to SmackDown a couple weeks ago, you could tell he was a little tired. And when what he was watching was making him angry, and I super chatted him. Well, not super chatted him, but I chatted with him in the chat area, in the chat room during his live stream, and he said, yeah, BW Roses, I'm venting. Because the way he was acting, the way he was responding was not normally the way the Lex man sometimes vents out, shows his anger. This is more like, hey, I'm tired. I don't need this. I'm tired from working today. I don't need to come home and see this crap of a SmackDown show. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, just because someone will say something and act in a certain way online or witnessed by some people, it doesn't mean they're angry. It doesn't mean they want out. It doesn't mean that person or people are AEW bound. It just means they're frustrated, they're venting, and once they're done venting, they breathe a sigh of relief because they got it out of their system. So just because, unless somebody is doing it like Luke Harper did, doing it in a very cordial, respectful way, when somebody comes out and cryptically, if not, visually seen by other people's eyes, indicate they want out, and they're doing it in a way that shows that, yeah, something's not right here, something's up. Sometimes, if not most times, that person is just venting the frustration. Sasha Banks is the cousin of Snoop Dogg. So, yeah, she has a right to be a little frustrated, but I think what's happening, and this is what's really getting on her nerves, is reality, as much as we hate to say it, is slapping her across the face. WWE's own brand of reality is slapping her across the face and making her realize, hey, you might be Snoop Dogg's cousin, but that doesn't mean you're better than everybody else. It doesn't mean that. Boom, there you go, wake up. You're just like everybody else. You know, some people think Charlotte Flair gets everything handed to her because she's Ric Flair's daughter. But guess what? If that was the case, they would have ended WrestleMania with Charlotte Flair with both championships. But they didn't. Instead, Charlotte Flair lost. And the reality, and here's the thing though. Here's what makes people still get behind Charlotte more than they get behind Sasha. Charlotte understands that, yeah, I might be Ric Flair's daughter, but that doesn't mean I get special privileges. The only reason they played that up recently was for the story. But in reality, Charlotte is basically like, hey, I'm just like every other woman here. I'm just like every other woman. I might get opportunities. I might be told I'm going to go over and become the champion 7 times or 7 to 8 times. But guess what? She realizes that just because she's Ric Flair's daughter doesn't mean all those title reigns she's had came instantaneously back to back to back to back to back to back to back. She's had to work for them. Whether we like to agree with it or not. But here's the thing. Here's why she gets more opportunities sometimes than Sasha. Because she understands that just because she's Flair's daughter, the Nature Boy's daughter, doesn't mean it makes her better than everybody else. Doesn't mean she's going to have a lot of things handed to her. That's the same thing, and I think what's happening with Sasha right now is that reality is slapping her in the face, and that's what's making her frustrated. And I'm sure she's had her friends and family talk her down. So, anyway guys, point is, just because somebody is frustrated and cryptically says they want out of the contract or out of the company, doesn't mean they're going to be AEW bound or bound for any other promotion. If you want your dream matches, fine. Sooner or later you'll get them. But here's one more thing I want to say. You have to be patient. Because patience, as the old saying goes, is a virtue.